Everyone gone.
Now we're going to do a clap.
We are recording.
Are we all clapping? I don't understand the clap. Right.
Well,
Sorry.
maybe.
What? No.
I don't know.
Richard,
Maybe.
go 1, 2, 3, clap.
I'm trying to think how this works. How does that work? So you're
I think we all need to clap that it's on everybody's audio. Well, only one of each.
Okay. Yeah. One, two, on three or after three?
1, 2, clap.
Okay.
1, 2,
Clapped.
There's the podcast
the
right there.
Up. The dog's got up now. She's wondering what's going on.
Oh, see, already we're back in the podcast groove. Hello and welcome to the Earth Art TV podcast. I'm your host Richard Shilling and I'm here to introduce you to our first full episode. We are 6 artists and friends, Caroline Hayes, Julia Brooklyn, James Brunt, Rebecca Ford, Mark Ford and myself, and we're 3 couples as well. Between us we are located some distance from each other across the whole of England, from the far north to the east and to the far south coast. As we discuss in this pod, we nearly crossed paths here and there in the previous decade before we finally met in person at an Earth Art Festival in Texas in 2018 and 2019. So despite living in the same country, we needed to travel thousands of miles from home to actually meet in person. And since that time, so many more ripples have spread out from those occasions for us and for so many others that met there and at other events of the same ilk. The idea behind this podcast is to create a little audio world of these encounters we have and to share them with you. The 6 of us get together regularly, but there are also much less regular encounters from the myriad of characters that we know from all around the world, who all have some kind of life or connection to this world of nature art and nature artists. Wicked weavers, psycho stone balancers, mandala magicians from every corner of the globe. We want this pod to be a hub for all of that. This podcast will consist of a regular social get-togethers with us 6, along with special guests from that smorgasbord of chums from around the planet. And interspersed, we plan to bring you all sorts of interesting interviews, discussion groups, questions and answer sessions, whatever else of interest we can conjure up. So I hope you enjoy listening to this pod as much as we did recording it. If you do, you might feel like leaving us a comment or sharing it on your social media. And if you have any questions, you can send us a message to earthart.tv@gmail.com or leave a comment on Instagram, Facebook or YouTube. Just look out for Earth Art TV to find us. So without further ado, welcome to the Earth Art TV podcast social. And I'll see you again next time. So I will have to do an introduction, I think. So
okay, go for it.
This is take 2 of our first proper episode. I think we'll refer to the previous one as the ghost episode, both because we discussed poltergeist activity in Mark and Rebecca's house when they first moved in. And because, does it exist or not? Will it ever make the airwaves? Who knows? Probably not. There were some funny things that we talked about. I think we talked about who would do each day to post something on Facebook. So that was the most exciting part of it. We've nearly made a whole week. I've forgotten.
I forgot that was a thing. I didn't do anything.
I forgot which day
I said nearly.
Doing.
Yeah,
I haven't forgotten, and I'm posting today. That's
there you go.
Not that you needed
Rebecca
to remind
Have
me.
you
just remembered now?
Yes.
That's good. That's good. So we need to spread that out to Instagram and YouTube. I'll just mention that, just to keep the 2 episodes just as interesting as each other. Everybody's putting faces at me now.
I did post on TikTok earlier, but I didn't know which day of the week I was supposed to do it.
Have we got a TikTok account or your own TikTok account?
I hope not.
Yeah, no, that's that's a step too far.
I've still never been on TikTok.
I've never been on
It's
TikTok.
probably not going to change.
No, I haven't.
but I'll try.
I've never been on TikTok either.
Mark,
No?
you are Earth Art TV Podcast's only representative on TikTok.
Yeah.
That is your responsibility.
You're our TikTok representative.
That's not a problem.
I think that
so
should be your
got
job title. TikTok representative.
TikTok
Mark
representative.
Ford.
There's
Yeah.
a T-shirt for you to make right there.
I got TikTok just before the 2021 Dunbar.
I got COVID about the same time.
Oh,
We did that sand drawing in
Not related.
Dunbar. That was the first posting.
Yes. Yeah, none of us followed suit. though,
Anyway,
did
Richard,
we?
do you want to
No one
introduce
saw
the
it.
podcast?
How to follow that? Well, I've done my intro. I think you know.
Have
So
you?
I probably should say to anyone who is listening to this, who doesn't know who we are, who we are.
Good idea.
So I introduced me and that we did a ghost podcast, and I think that's probably me done. So we do a round table. Say who you are, please.
Okay, who's starting? I'm
You
going to
obviously
start.
you are.
Okay, I'll start. My name is James. James Brunt. I'm in Yorkshire at the moment. And I make artwork.
I am Caroline Hayes, and I'm sat next to James, also in Yorkshire, and I'm a graphic designer, creative, artist, all-rounder.
Yes.
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 I'm Rebecca Ford. I'm sitting next to Mark Ford in a cottage in West Sussex, and I'm an artist.
That's right. I'm Mark Ford, also in a cottage in the South Downs National Park in Sussex, next to Rebecca, and I love to make things out of natural materials, especially sticks like willow and hazel.
Very good.
I'm Julia Brooklyn, and I'm sat next to Richard Shilling. I'm
In a
also-
wardrobe.
Yeah,
In the wardrobe.
I'm also an artist, and I also like to play with sticks and stones. So yeah.
Oh, we have simple pleasures, don't we?
So yeah, I think one of the things we discussed about this podcast, that the whole intent was to not do things like we just did then. And
What was that? Yeah.
I set everyone up brilliantly to do the whole introduce yourself, do a little spiel. That really what this was about was to be like people that actually know each other over a beer in the pub.
I don't like
So-
doing introductions.
No, I think we've done that now, so that we're not doing that again.
Good.
We'll never do
Excellent.
it again.
Never
No.
again.
Of course, if we were all round a table in the pub, we wouldn't have to introduce ourselves unless there was a new person coming to the table.
That
Yeah, but maybe we
sounds
wouldn't
nice.
do that.
We probably wouldn't have done it in the same way
Yeah.
with the kind of,
No.
like, let's
I
go
wouldn't.
round the table, but we did it. It's done now, isn't it?
It's right
Yeah.
up there
Yeah.
with standing in
It's
front
fine.
of a school, primary school kids, and them going, "Good morning, James, Mark, Rebecca, Caroline,
Make a
Julia."
circle, make a circle.
Yeah. Do you have
Oh,
that?
you've gone too
Do you have that
far.
song playing in your head, James?
All the time. I hear it so
It
often.
explains everything.
What is that the song you used to sing at school?
Make us no. He's
Is that like a
he's
recent
saying
school
out
song?
I've
loud.
never heard that song.
He's
I
saying
tell you
out
what.
loud the voices in his head.
Yeah, when I'm working, when I'm making work, yeah.
Make a spiral, make a spiral.
Yeah. So as long as the voices don't tell you to stop murdering people, I think, and it's just spirals and circles, then we're probably onto a winner because that explains a lot. Oh dearie me.
Hey, this is a good start, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on fire today.
I mean, your spiral song's a bit like the wheels on the bus go round and round.
No,
isn't
don't start. Nobody will ever listen to us again if we start infecting them with
No, that's-
earworms
that's
of
true,
that
yeah.
variety.
Yeah, stop it.
I've already sung a song, so the people will be turning off in their droves already.
Yeah.
If anyone's still here, then that's good. Yeah.
Isn't it James
But we're
Brunt
here.
they think that they mistake you for sometimes?
Is it what?
Missed that one. Go
I
on.
said, is it James Blunt that they mistake you for quite well?
All
Yeah.
the time. smiling.
The many disappointed faces when we've arrived at festivals and it's James Blunt that turns up for his dinner. It's.
I don't have his money or his voice.
No.
Do you think we could get him on the podcast instead of you?
Yeah, that should definitely be a thing. He'd be up for it. I think he would be up for
How
it.
could he not say, like, how could he refuse that? It's like too good an offer.
Yeah, we'll get
He'd
on
love
to
it.
it.
He's up for a laugh, isn't
Yeah,
he? As
he
well?
is, yeah.
He's up for a laugh. I'm sure he'd enjoy
Yeah.
it.
I don't. Well,
We'll get in
he
touch.
doesn't demonstrate he says no to anything, so I'm sure he'd be quite happy
Maybe
to
he could
join us on this
sponsor us.
podcast.
Maybe he could sponsor us.
That would
Well,
be nice.
he could
That would
accompany
be
you on guitar while you
beautiful,
sing
wouldn't it?
Make a Circle.
Make a circle.
Yeah.
Make a circle, make a spiral.
Is that your James Blunt impression?
Only
got
two
quite a
lines.
good voice, Mark.
I'll develop some more lines by the
He
end
has-
of the podcast.
Yeah.
He has got a good voice, and I told him that once, and he actually sang. He just wouldn't stop singing after that, and he can not only sing quite well, but he sings like Elvis and who David Bowie.
Well,
Well,
this
quite
is,
good.
all,
Maybe.
Yeah, already
this
we
is
know
all
what
new, isn't it? Yeah.
our next
like
episode's
my-
going to be Mark doing Elvis impressions.
Yeah.
But he's
Mark
like my
sings.
walking jukebox. So I just say, give us a David Bowie.
I don't need much.
We
I think maybe just like
What, like in terms of payment? You don't need much payment.
yeah, we've heard
I
that.
just give him an IOU.
Well, we've yet to find something that you haven't done a job in somewhere or have a talent to do. There's somebody got right. There's a thing that we're at a festival and there's something that needs doing. Yeah, get Mark in. So was it plumbing, fencing, roofing, hedge laying?
Willow sculptures.
I mean, I ran out of things that I knew that were jobs.
Styling, a bar
Singing,
manager.
Finding
make a
anything
boat
that we
at a
need at any
moment's
given
notice,
moment.
Yeah,
A
festival
short
organizer.
walk away.
a boat
In a
or a
skip.
bridge.
Yeah, he'll find anything you need in a skip.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of
about
those
big-
big bags. He found those
He did
bags,
find the
didn't
big
he?
bags, yeah.
Those big
We needed
bags.
bulk bags, and we
Yeah.
found 8 in the end.
Well,
I
you
thought
did.
I thought you had one in
okay.
the back of your. You had them in the back of your van. I didn't realise you'd pinched them from a building site.
Borrowed
It's
them.
like-
I
So
also
borrowed.
returned.
And
I
then-
did
yeah.
return them
Really?
after we
Yeah,
did that
just
job.
borrowed
Yeah.
them.
People are
I
just
don't-
listening to us talk about bags and they don't really know why we needed them. But it was for quite an exciting job on a
Well,
beach in
yeah.
Wales.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to
Exciting
spend
job.
5 days collecting stones and filling bulk bags on the beach just so you don't have to drag them up and down the beach during the tide, you need.
It was
big
brilliant.
bulk
No,
bags.
don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not disparaging the need for them. I was very naive. I'd been entered into the world of somebody that actually went to art school and the kind of the ducking and diving that you have to get up to make a living out of it. So
And James had to buy
was an
new
eye-opener.
boots.
I did have to buy
Yeah.
new boots. Do you know what? They were the best boots I ever bought. And when they went, I actually found the same pair again. I will only buy them boots now.
Really?
What boots
Yeah.
are they, James?
What
I don't
make
even
were
know. I don't know. No idea.
Oh.
I don't look at just such
It's
things. I
something
just,
for next time. I'll look it up and I
My
will give out
boots will
the
be
name and
Mark singing
item
and my
number
boots
next
come in
time.
the next episode.
And then we
Yeah.
could
I mean,
we could do your
if-
trousers because you've done the same with trousers, haven't you? You've
Yeah.
discovered some really good workwear trousers. Fun
bought
fact,
lots of them.
and I bought them from a
You
charity
surprised
shop.
me.
He liked them that much that we found them online and ordered 2 more pairs. So yeah.
But
Exciting news this week in our house is
Yeah.
James has 2 new pairs of Lee Cooper. You know,
Sponsorship.
workwear, yeah. They could sponsor us when James Blunt's done with it. We'll move on to
I
Lee
like Mountain
Cooper.
Warehouse. They're my favourite.
You were trying to get some sponsorship on it, but I think it was all mentioned
Definitely,
in the
yeah.
Sponsorship by
podcast.
Mountain Warehouse.
Could be
Yeah.
listened to by at least 5 people. So, James, you had a selection of blue and white stripy T-shirts at one point that was kind of a bit of a signature thing, and I was a bit. Do you remember those? I was haunted.
There's a lot of
by
colours,
those.
yeah.
I was
Haunted.
haunted. Let me explain. So there was that day in Harrogate. At the Yorkshire, the Great Yorkshire Show,
The Great
and
Yorkshire Show.
there was a guy there whose a bird fancier type who had what was it?
It was a bird of prey display show.
A Stella's sea eagle, absolutely enormous thing, absolutely enormous.
Person-sized.
It was, and I went down the hill from where we were, where Julia and I were working, to go and get a closer look at this thing. And
you didn't know we were there, by the way, at this point.
No, I had no idea they were also at this festival working. You and John Foreman. So I stood there, minding my own business, having a little quiet moment, looking at this magnificent eagle, and I had this sort of sense of, the Great Yorkshire Showground is enormous. I know this is where there was plenty of space to stand, not like 3 feet behind me, and I could just feel this sort of breathing on the back of my neck. But I had this sense of a blue and white stripy t-shirt. It was coming. I don't know whether it was just peripheral vision or some kind of psychic moment. And I turned around at you and John looking at me behind, and you were there for, I don't know, a good 5-10 minutes. Didn't announce yourselves, trying to give me the heebie-jeebies.
We got as close as we could to you without you knowing we were there.
I could sort of kind of tell, and I could hear this faint sound in the background of making circles, spirals. It was one of those.
Sing that like David Bowie, couldn't you?
Oh, come on, Mark, do it now.
Good.
Later, I'll come up with more lines.
Yeah. Be right back. Right, all this hilarity. Go on.
Those boots that you bought in Newgale, were great.
They were
right next to the shop, right next to the beach.
I know. It was like a hardware shop on a beachfront, and there was that and the pub, and that was it. It was.
Talking of the pub, it burnt down this week.
No.
It's not there. It's completely gone.
Hardware shop, okay?
Really? Wow. Really?
The hardware shop's fine.
Excellent.
So they could rebuild.
Right, as the host of this podcast, I'm gonna start steering the content in a new and less interesting direction.
Is this a first? A first?
A first? Well,
are we steering left or right?
There is actually the Ghost podcast that I remember. There was some point that I said that one of the inspirations for us doing this was that how would I describe it? When we get together, we just sort of go away a little bit happier than when we arrived, and it seems to be. It's not just us 6 or like that, but it seems to be a thing about the people that we hang out with, the things that we do, the people that come and visit us and see what we do, the different festivals that people organise, the different get-togethers, and we wanted to bring a bit of that happiness and magic through this thing. Yeah, it's every day, and so that we don't get to see a lot of the people that we see. Maybe sometimes it's once a year, sometimes it's not even as often as that. And it'd be nice to spread a bit of that around, really, and it gives us an excuse to get together and just enjoy each other's company doing this. But we thought maybe people out there would want to listen to it as well, or at least try and pick up some of that happy vibe that we try and spread around the place whilst James sings making circles. So a little bit of history about that. We got together in 2018, 2019 in Texas at a festival called Leaf, the Llano Earth Art. What is it? Leaf. The Llano
Earth Art Festival.
Earth Art Festival. Yeah, of course. Put together after an inspirational idea by Binky, a good friend of ours, who
Binky.
What do I refer to as the grand sorceress of the cauldron of Leaf? She sort of gets her cauldron and gives it a stir and draws in the tribe of people like us to sort of do this thing on a bigger scale. And unfortunately, it's not going to go ahead this year. Normally, it would be in March, and some of that has inspired us to try and create something where we can.
It's where we all met.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's been all these ripples ever since we all met and got together. There's been all these ripples and festivals, like you guys put together Land Sandstone and James Page, the European Stone Stacking Championships in Dunbar, and various other things. And yeah, there's a different eddies of people that we get together with and people that we see less often, and we're thinking this social podcast in particular, we're going to invite one or two people on to each episode, and so we can just have that catch up as an excuse to kind of do that when we don't get to see some of these people very often. And in between, we'll do some interviews and some various things with all the other interesting characters that we've met. So that's what the kind of plan that we have. So we were so full of ideas and explaining this better in the first ones. The Ghost podcast that never was always going to be better than me explaining it on this one. But
No, it's all good.
No,
It
is actually it's quite similar.
Yeah.
It is
I mean,
quite similar.
for me, my journey in all of this is down to Richard.
Yeah.
So, to Richard and I, we communicated via the world of Flickr at the time.
The world of
Wow.
The world of Flickr
Back in the day.
And then
remember
I
that
saw
message.
that there was the campaign for national parks were having this event all around the country, different artists at different locations, and I saw Richard's name was there on a document somewhere. So I contacted Richard and I said, "Who's doing it for the South Downs National Park? I'd love to do it." So from that, I mean, it was a lovely afternoon. National Trust wouldn't let us pick any sticks or leaves or flowers or anything. So it was like, how do you make? We
Quite
couldn't make a
rightly so.
mandala, so we made a mandala out of chalk, flint, and charcoal, and nettles
Nice.
and
you
ragwork.
had some wooden discs, didn't you?
And some
on
wooden
yours?
discs, yeah.
It was cool what you made.
It was all right.
Didn't I? You got asked, didn't you, James? But you were busy.
I did get asked, but I don't know why it didn't come off. But
Washing your beard?
possibly. Interestingly, though, sort of like a long time ago now, I also had dealings with Richard way before I even knew him. I put in an unsuccessful Arts Council application. It must be 10
Another
years
one.
ago now. Another
Sorry.
one. I'm terrible at applying for money. And in that, I contacted Richard and said, "Would you do a day of creative professional development with us if we get this bid?" And Richard went, "Yes, of course." And
Did
then we
I?
didn't get the bid, so yes, you did. You were very nice. But
And
then we didn't get
I
the
was
money.
lying.
We didn't get the money, so then I forgot Richard for about another 5 or 10 years, and then we went to Llano in Texas and met.
Oh.
That's
Well, are we
that's a great story.
we gonna have a proper confessional? Because the behind the scenes stories about the two things in particular. So there was I mean, our career. So you guys went to art school, didn't you? So you were
Yes.
kind of proper artists in inverted commas. I sort of fell out of bed one day, and I don't know how it happened. I was doing a hobby and something went viral, and it was just all a bit strange, and I still sort of feel like that now. So I felt I didn't really know what was going on. I was just making things doing a lot of copying of Andy Goldsworthy, to be fair, to start with, because I was just fascinated by the whole thing. And then Gabriele Mendegucci, whatever his name is, the guy with the beard, the Italian guy, sent me an email saying...
Hummus Park.
Hummus? Is that how you
Hummus
pronounce
Park.
it? It is literally how you pronounce it.
Hummus Park.
It's
and
not
his
made out of
company,
chickpeas.
Is it Vida Verdi?
Yeah.
Vida Verdi.
Sounds
he's-
like a nice lunch.
Yeah.
He's actually a
Hummus
lovely
Park,
guy.
yeah.
He's
So
a
he's-
really lovely guy.
He sent me an email saying, "Stop copying. Do you can do your own thing." And I wasn't, making art for any other reason than just my own fascination, and just happened to put my pictures online, and that sparked something off. So I started to get into this thing, and people were inviting me to do workshops and things. And I didn't know what the heck. I just had there was never any plan for that to be a thing. It just kind of started to happen. So I didn't know what was happening. I still don't. James then sends me this email asking to do professional development. It just completely freaked me out. I was like, who are these responsible fishing people? I had just completely did me in. So I'm really glad it didn't happen, because I just didn't know what.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of people hear responsible fishing and go, "What is this all about?" Because there's no real reason for it to have ever been called
it was
that.
insane.
But that's another story as well. But yeah.
So then coming back to Leaf in 2018, funnily enough, so I was becoming more. I suppose I had been doing it full time 4 years at that point, but only because I lost my job. And I'd worked at the same place since I was 18. Got made redundant, so I just didn't. I thought I'd try and make something out of this, but again, it was never the plan. And I saw this thing come up on Facebook, and I think it was James posted, "Oh, I'm going to this festival in Texas," and I was like, "What festival in Texas? If he's going, I'm going to bloody well go." So I sent a message to Binky saying, "Can I come?" And she said, "Who are you? Who are you?" So I sent her some pictures. She said, "Yeah, okay then." So I never got invited. I invited myself. So
that's great. Because I think you invite, or you said to Binky, it would be great if we came along the following year, 2019. And I met James Brunt while sitting on a pelican.
On a pelican?
Yes.
On a pelican?
I'm not going to go any further about you and that pelican.
The pelican?
Yeah.
Well, I want to know. I'm sure our audience would know. Come on, spill the beans.
2019, so it was when I went on my own. And
So your second year?
Yeah, second year. Right. So I'd landed in Austin Airport and I'd met Jason Campbell, who is from Florida, a stone balancer from Florida, and Barry Miner. And we shared an Uber from Austin to Llano. Went straight to the sort of like the evening before the festival starts party, and this guy like riding a pelican just came running up to me and kind of like introduced himself as Mark Ford.
That's so funny.
There's still a bit in this story I'm not quite getting. Riding a pelican. What are you talking about?
It's very common for Mark to ride all sorts of magical, mystical creatures. If there's something to climb on or pretend he's riding.
Abuse, it looked like, to be honest.
Abuse or anything. He has an opportunity, he will take it.
Right.
I love that Rebecca was the only one there just going, normal.
Well,
what?
yeah.
Why is everyone looking surprised? Yeah.
Was it one of those outfits that you put your feet into and then you sit on
like
it?
Burley Clifton.
I think it might have been a plastic pelican.
It was a plastic garden kind of furniture.
Like quite a large one. So
it's quite a big one.
Which is really quite telling as to how Llano is. It's like that, isn't it? Yeah. There's a lot of that stuff about there. It's an amazing place.
Yeah, but I'd really like to see you with one like Bernie Clifton, Mark. That'd be amazing.
That would be awesome.
Singing in the style of David Bowie at the same time.
Yeah.
Or Elvis, we're not
Listen,
fussy.
You are feeding Mark's...
this next episode is going to be amazing.
Oh boy, but then when we did get together, so I arrived in Llano the first year, kind of with a combination of trying to have a big ego and being scared of everything at the same time. But it was kind of it was a bit like matter eating antimatter inside my head, that I was kind of consuming myself, because I was just a computer programmer and suddenly was finding this different world, this other stuff going on, which was so much more interesting than the other things I did. So to arrive there kind of blew my mind, really, to meet all these other people doing something similar and feel inferior, superior, all this sort of stuff going on in my head, until I sort of had a bit of a breakdown towards the end of that trip. But it was... it just kicked off so many things. Just kind of... It was the start of... my career, and not just career, life since then, really, that it just kind of it cemented the idea that where my life, the direction my life was taking, was the thing that I wanted should be doing. I had no idea to that point, and I was just kind of, what's going on?
And plus, we hadn't really met any other artists up until...
That's what I mean, though. Is that it's so many things. We literally had got jobs from social media or people emailing, and just went and did it, and we'd aware of everyone online, and quite a lot of the artists at Leaf, that we were friends with on social media. Never met any of them, never thought we would, just didn't really. That world just didn't exist for us.
ironic that it takes a festival halfway around the world to
Yeah.
actually bring...
Yeah.
I think
To make us
everyone's
meet in
first
person.
experience was very similar because I remember arriving there quite late, really. Everyone was already there and everyone was out making work. And it was quite intimidating that first morning, waking up and going out onto the riverbed and just seeing what would have been made and the people out there making stuff and really at home in that landscape, and then trying to find your feet there. But then going home, very quickly I kind of remember on the plane just going, that's it. I will be back next year. I'll be back the year after. If there is at least,
It was
I will be there.
life-changing, wasn't
Oh,
it?
it was
Yeah.
really life.
Yeah.
was.
Don't you find that experience? But we all were like on that spectrum, that similar experience of like, am I doing the right thing, and am I good enough, and all of that kind of stuff. And that just went, didn't it, very quickly?
Yeah.
We're all accomplished in our fields of expertise. We're all, we know what we're doing. It's just like
Sitting on pelicans.
when you've got other people around you and you think,
Yeah, sorry. I'm messing with your moment.
But going back, our first international thing was Hummers Park in 2016 with
Gabriella
Menigucci and Vincenzo Sponga. And it was just like we flew into just outside Pordenone, just outside Venice, and it was just like, we have to get this train, then get this bus, and then walk to this address, to this hotel in a city you've never been to before.
And we bumped into two Polish artists who were participating, and we were like going, you know how it is, you spot another artist, don't you? We were going, do you reckon they're going to Hummers Park? And we were going, yeah, I think so. Yeah, who's going to say hello? So we said hello, and they were. It was. Oh my gosh, my brain's gone blank.
Marcin Jablonski.
Yeah, Marcin.
Marcin.
How did you know they were artists?
Because you could just tell.
Oh, right, okay. Was it? I was going to say, was it just a vibe or?
Yeah, no,
Just a
you could
vibe.
just tell. And it was weird. I hadn't seen you, Richard, for ages. And then at Lansdowne Stone, I was taking some pictures of a piece Mark and I did. And I was just looking out the corner of my eye, and I thought, oh, that's quite an interesting person. Okay.
Don't think he's easy.
Yeah. No, and then I
it's that
went
new hat.
like, oh, it's Richard. But you do spot somebody.
Yeah.
Just think,
You had a very cool shirt on.
Yeah,
Wasn't
I've
I remember that shirt.
progressed out of looking like the computer programmer. I'm trying to embrace, wearing arty clothes that I bought on Vinted. So yeah, I think I finally
When it
made it.
works.
Finally made it.
but
So from Hummers Park, we befriended Marcin.
Yeah.
Marcin created an event in Poland,
oh my gosh, yeah,
which
that
we
was
went
amazing.
to, and it was a palace. It was a Polish-French palace in the middle of nowhere, and a taxi picked us up from the airport and dropped us off at this house.
No, it wasn't a taxi. It was a driver who picked us up, dropped us at this house, and we went into the house. we went into the house.
It's full of
And
skulls.
it was full of these skulls. And the host came up and they just said, "Go upstairs and stay there." And we stayed there for like 4 hours.
Well, yeah,
He's
it was with no English. He said,
He was
come
really
here.
grumpy.
We walked up the stairs in the dark with all these skulls everywhere.
We were like, oh.
Showed us into this room. So he said, "Stay here," and
And
then
we
shut the
did.
door.
What the hell?
And then shut the door. And it was like,
We're like good English people.
There's
We
no-
stayed there,
there's
and
no-
then finally we crept down the stairs because we were dying of thirst, and we were like, "I'm just really thirsty."
there's no sink, there's no glasses.
Hungry.
What do we do?
They were so really the host of it. They were very, very grumpy, weren't they?
That was a real
Wow.
eye opener about language barriers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now we take on.
And what to expect. We had no idea what
Yeah.
to expect.
And
But
what a
but-
polar opposite in Llano then.
Yeah, totally.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
from that event, we met Marius
Gildas. Yeah.
Gvil-
Oh yeah,
Builders.
yeah.
and Anastasia, his wife, and they created an event in Lithuania. And again, they flew us out there and picked us up. We looked around probably 1,000
We were knackered. Yeah.
churches before they took us to the hotel.
Yeah.
And then we said, okay, well, you're leading this team, and Rebecca, you're leading that team.
It's like,
And the team, I had a Lithuanian, a Polish lady, and a Russian lady. No English.
you still made a wonderful piece. though.
And
It was good,
okay,
yeah.
So you by using sketching and sign language, lots of pointing, we made this sculpture on an island in this lake, which I actually think was probably a cesspit or something. It was really stinky. And then we went to Llano the following year. So
Wow.
It was fun.
Wow.
It's I just feel very lucky, actually.
Really,
was
really
good.
lucky. And it is, like, I do this all the time, but I think it's really important that we do is just sort of celebrate Binky and Ron, Gretchen, the whole team,
amazing.
because it really, genuinely, none of this would be happening if they hadn't done what they did.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
again, I'm going to have
Absolutely.
another
Yeah.
thank you, Binky, Ron, and
Yeah.
Gretchen, and everybody.
And
Rich
there's a
Houston
huge
and
team
everybody.
that,
I think we definitely need to get them on.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great to see them.
The first interview should be with the Llano team.
I
we tell
can't
them
believe
about
it's
Stansted?
still only January. You?
You can tell about Stansted, but I'd rather tell them about
know.
Staunton.
Oh,
Staunton.
Because
Okay.
what's going on?
We
Tell
think
us.
we think, you know how many years we've been saying we're going to put on a land art event?
oh.
Yeah.
We think we found a really great venue for it, and it's not far away. And they contacted us because they wanted to do a sculpture trail there. So we went for a meeting, and we had a look around the grounds. And this lovely guy called Michael, he doesn't know anything about art, but he's got £20,000. He said that he's putting a bid in from the Henry Moore Foundation or something.
Hello to
And-
Michael.
I know. And but he said, when we looked around, we just said this would be amazing. This place for a land art event. It's big, it's beautiful, it's got a lake, and it's also this large park which is surrounded by some, large housing estates, which have been.
It was once the largest housing estate in Europe in the 1950s.
And your grandmother lived there,
My mother lived there
right.
as well.
Wow.
so your family's from there.
My family.
But this park is absolutely beautiful. And so we spoke to, we started getting really excited, and we thought finally we found a venue. And then we started looking for Airbnbs and stuff like that before anything's happened. But
And we found one that's a 12-minute walk away. I think if we can reserve the whole place
so it's
and get everybody there.
It's a possibility. We finally found somewhere.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I know. We're really nothing's in certain, but other than our word that it's going to happen. So we'll now we've found this place, and it's just so it's got everything.
We've always known it was there,
Excellent.
right? I used to go there as a small boy, and my used to walk the dogs there with my aunt, and I went to did my A-levels in the same town, A-level art, and it's just like, well, it's on our doorstep. We were just looking for somewhere on our doorstep that was like this side of Chichester, but actually towards Portsmouth, it's lots of schools, and there's also sandy beaches within sort of 8 miles. So we could do a bit of that, and there's some really great old forests. Yes, I think it's got a lot of potential.
That's exciting.
And what are you thinking? When is this likely to happen? If it happens?
I was. This is what it has to be sometime in the autumn when there's leaves,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if it fits between some of the other events, it will be a busy month. I think it could be that we do one and then one and then one. But I just think it's.
But our commitment is
Too
that
good.
everybody gets paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not doing it.
I
We're
mean-
not doing it. Yeah.
I'm impressed that your first thought was to go and find accommodation and things like that, because we've been winging it with land sandstone, making you all just stay in a field for years. We still haven't actually managed to sort that bit out, have we? But
No, but that works. The camping's great. Well,
it is. Well, I mean,
yeah.
it's the shipping. We do have a good base, but it is essentially a field. So we are very grateful that you all still come, even though we only give you a field and not a nice
But we love
plush
it.
place.
Everyone who's listening to the polished produced one won't know that we've just had a 10-minute break where we swore and told mean stories about people, said slanderous things, told a joke about a famous chocolate bar called Topic. What's got a hazelnut in every bite.
Do you remember Spangles?
Spangles, yeah.
Spangles.
Let him say this.
Yeah, no, I thought.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
Spangles.
One of the things we want to do is get schools to send in questions that we can answer on this podcast. So that suddenly came to my mind. I think I won't do the punchline unless we have like a late night version because it's a little bit risky.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay.
Not worth it.
No.
Well, I've come up with a little ditty.
Come on.
Then.
Oh,
Have you?
In David
Mark
Bowie's
sings.
style of David
So we
Bowie.
need-
No,
Yeah.
no.
A
Well, we
little
haven't got
part
any
of
music
every
to accompany it,
episode.
but
Just
Do
go
you need
for it.
music?
I see James Brunt with his sticks, placing leaves with expertise. He's making circles, spinning spirals in an anamorphic sand raking is a living sundial. Now that doesn't rhyme. Oh, it's a work in progress.
You're supposed to be doing
Very
it
good.
It's a-
in the style of David Bowie.
It started off.
Yeah,
all
I
right,
think
know,
that was
but
more-
It tailed
There was
tailed
hints
off.
of Bowie there. There was
I'm a
definite
little bit
hints of
I was
Bowie.
thinking more sort of like a 50s crooner. Not,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of...
Okay, I'll work on it a little bit more for next time, and we'll have some music accompanying.
Well, you're totally entitled to do your own episodes, just on your own, without the rest of us. Whether or not anybody will listen to them,
publish
yeah.
them.
Well, we'll just label them exactly what they are. This is Mark
We
the
can
Mark
find
singing.
Mark's
room
been
for
at
the
it
Mark
again.
Sings section, can't we? There'll be room for a weekly Mark Sings.
Yeah.
Little- yeah.
Yeah, well,
Mark sings.
You're shaking your head.
we'll set you up with your own account, and
Well, yeah, you're right. I'll probably get into it after a while.
Oh, I thought it was good. I liked your singing, Mark.
don't encourage him.
I did too.
No, I like it.
Let's move on.
Very good.
So, what's coming up next, Richard?
What's coming up next? Well, I think we're going to start thinking about lining some of our victims, stroke friends up for an interview. There's some interesting characters, so I can see who's going to be up for that. I don't know, but what's definitely coming up next will be another social episode. I suspect we'll probably get one in before the end of February. Because the end of February, we're actually all getting together in a cottage in Lancashire.
We
At a
are.
place where I always say this, or where I'm resident artist. It's basically, I know the people that own it, and it's huge, 250-acre organic farm, and they just let me go and do. They call me the resident artist, but that just means I can go there and make whatever I want and not get disturbed by anyone. So yeah, we're all getting together there in their holiday cottage to have a week together where we'll just make things and hang out and do whatever. So we're thinking about doing an episode from there where we're actually...
We'll have John Foreman with us.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Oh, great.
So yeah, maybe we'll do 2 episodes. Maybe John will be our special guest as far as the pod goes, because and then we were planning to do one with Binky, Gretchen, and some of the Llano guys. So that'd be kind of fun, I think. So yeah, I guess we need to start thinking about what we want to do with these extra episodes. The scope is huge. We know so many interesting people with lots of interesting, funny stories to tell. We've got plenty more. I don't think we've used them all up. I've still got the punchline about what's got a hazelnut in every bite to save up for the next episode.
But as we gain listeners, they might also send in what they want to hear.
That's true.
Let's talk
As we
about
gain listeners, well, that's
we
I was
gain
going to say
listeners.
that's setting us up for a fall. What if we start off and they go down?
Well,
And what's the best way for people to contact us and ask their questions?
Oh,
Good
I have
question,
no
Mark.
idea.
ESP.
There's an email.
No, ESP is it's more direct.
ESP.
Yeah,
What's CSP?
it's like psychic.
Extrasensory perception.
Just send psychic
Yeah.
vibes.
Okay.
It saves on bandwidth. It saves on admin.
No, be serious. Mark.
And I don't
Mark,
have to learn any
Mark
tech to
asked
do
a
it.
serious question.
Yeah, I know. That's entirely why I'm answering it with a
tell
silly
him, Julia.
answer. Because he's trying to bring seriousness.
I can't take any serious questions with Mark with that
he's
hat
trying
on.
to-
And then,
He's trying to be too serious, and I'm resisting. I do the bit at the beginning where I mentioned that I'm the host.
Actually, you look like one of those medieval knights, don't you? But they wear underneath the chainmail.
That's right.
That's it.
I was thinking more like Pob. He looks like Pob.
No. He doesn't look like Bob. I'm standing up for you, Mark.
So
Thank you, Julia.
So the serious question is how do people get their questions to us, and who knows the answer?
Is it earthart.tv@gmail.com?
I don't know, is it?
Could
Can't
be.
remember.
Well, so most people are going to find this on social media. So
Yeah.
we'll be posting this podcast on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube. Just look up Earth Art TV with or without a dot. It'll come up with us somewhere. The podcast itself will be available on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts. Is there all the main podcast providers? All the cheap ones and the free ones. And available
Best ones.
in your app.
Sponsored by James Blunt, Lee Cooper, the people who made James's shoes.
Mountain Warehouse
Mountain
trousers.
Warehouse. Yeah.
And Burberry, maybe.
Oh, hello. Yeah, I'd add them in. Why not?
Yes, just to confirm, it is earthart.tv@gmail.com.
So that means I have
Those
to
questions.
remember what the password is. And so
Just looking at, there's a little video of 9th of August 2020 of these fish on sticks. It's beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Land art for kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, good stuff.
right, well, I think we've chewed the ears off our two audience members for long enough. We're looking forward to welcoming a third for our next episode.
Thanks for listening,
That would
Mum.
be nice. Oh, my mum's not listening. Yeah, no, I doubt it.
So if you want to hear the punchline to What's Got Hazelnut in Every Bite, please return and come and listen to the next episode. And anyone else you think might be interested in the punchline of that particular joke, I'd ask them to listen, to subscribe and download ours. I being a host, I normally get delusions of grandeur when I hire a white van. I sort of drive around like leering at people out the window.
Well,
but I'm not getting sort of
I
power crazed being
I
the
think-
host of this podcast.
I think Mark should be the host because he's just.
No,
he can't handle the power. He gets he gets all
You're a
out of control.
natural. You're a natural, Mark.
He'll have us doing warm up exercises and it just be.
Go and say goodbye like the king.
goodbye like
You
the
say
king.
goodbye like the king. Goodbye like the king.
No, the king.
Go on.
Thanks
Come
for
on,
listening.
Mark. Come on,
Yeah,
Mark.
Elvis.
Hey.
Come on, we'll sign out. Elvis is leaving the building. Come on.
Oh, I thought you meant the real king, not Elvis.
The
The real king.
Exit like.
Welcome to Mark all
Look
day
at Charles.
long.
Can we do Charles?
He does all these impressions.
Thank you for listening.
So we're making promises we can't keep. People are expecting us to have King Charles and Elvis on as
an
our
impression or is he
future
having a stroke?
guests.
I don't know.
I need to loo.
I think he's having a stroke.
I think he was.
Well, if this is the kind of thing you want to hear,
Okay.
please tune in
That
next
went well.
week for more nearly impressions, more promises of royal family
Yeah.
members coming on to this podcast.
Yeah.
Jokes without
Nearly
punchlines.
impressed.
It's
I'm going to say hello like the Queen next week.
Yeah.
I just-
Or punchlines without the jokes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
Like, I've got some
Yeah.
cream for that.
Yes. What's the joke? I've
Oh.
got some cream. The doctor says I've got some cream for that. Any
Tune in.
ideas?
Tune in next
Oh.
week.
Yes.
You'll find
I
out.
think we should definitely say goodbye now.
Yeah.
Do you
I
think?
think we need to.
Bye.
Good-
It's
See you next
fine.
time.
See ya.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.